walking to, and I'm out walking on the way to town. You're going to get a big mass of videos once I do upload these, so hopefully it'll give you some interesting things to think about and comments to make on the page. Like I said, as before, keep them constructive and positive, and any suggestions, constructive, are welcome. Topic for today is one of the things that I was thinking about what to talk about, and one thing that's popped in my head recently is the idea of disability and risk. What I mean by that is, say you have a disability, because of how it impacts activities of daily living, it can sometimes create an increased risk to the person throughout their normal activities. Case in point, we had a situation locally where an individual who was using a power wheelchair was killed as they crossed the street. It's one of the busiest intersections in town. I know, crossing that exact area myself, it has a very short duration, and so that kind of hit me a lot. It was something that was very personal. I can relate to that. I've crossed that intersection, and so it kind of got me thinking, excuse me, the concept of accepting risk rather, as a part of having a disability. I've been told by a lot of people that, hey, why do you walk? You're like blind. Aren't you afraid of getting killed? Well, this is not new to me. As I've said before, I've had congenital blindness, which is of a legal blindness, 2200, depending upon the light and other factors. And so it made me think about that, anybody with disability, yes, they accept an increased risk to get through life. The individual that I referred to before who crossed the intersection in the power chair and was killed because of my information was that somebody that kind of cut a red light close, and obviously had very negative ramifications. And listening to the news stories, there wasn't a lot about what could be done to prevent this again. There was ideas of, well, let's raise money to help bury this person, etc. There were some news slants about, this is a situation with people in power chairs in town and where they have to cross, and it's just a fact of life. I did not see any city official being interviewed or questions asked about what could be done to make the situation better. It's not really a crosswalk there, marked crosswalk. There's not a light that can be pushed, etc. Even given the fact that it's a light intersection that crosses two different intersections. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. It crosses two different intersections where there is a lot of retail. Made a change. Somebody's mowing, so that's for the spin. That's what I was going to do. So, those of us with disabilities and those of us who are close to people with disabilities, and those individuals with disabilities seek to be involved in the larger society, assume greater risk. Some of it's very obvious, say in that situation with the power share individual. Some of it's a little more subtle in terms of if you put yourself out there and you apply for work, you go out there and try to meet people because you want a relationship just like everybody else. That involves some risk. And it's greater than the average person. For instance, if you're in a relationship or you want a relationship, you as a person with disability bring to the table limitations and so forth and create stress. And individuals that do not have disabilities do not bring those same concepts to the relationship. So people who, as a person with disability, people who bring those relationships, who are seeking a relationship, and who do not have a disability, they have other choices. They have choices with people who do not have disabilities and do not have the same limitations, and therefore perhaps decrease stress and the perception of a better relationship. Sorry. Somebody's burning something. So, it's something that perhaps a lot of people haven't thought about. I've thought about that, how it impacted me and my search to have, meaningful relationships, be it a friend or intimate or just a chance encounter when I was in college. I had that extra little aspect that other people without disability did not have. I had to explain things, and I had to come up with reasons why my behavior was this, and etc. There's a lot of risk when you have a disability. In terms of performing a job, building those networks, you're not able to do some of the recreation activities and so forth that perhaps, or if you can, it's a lot harder. Maybe you're not as good. So people then are a little bit, they want to avoid those activities with you because they don't know how to interact with you based upon your decreased level of expertise or limitations. And so, it's the principle that people tend to avoid things they don't like. Hence, they avoid people with disabilities because of the perceived difficulty of building those relationships in whatever arena they may happen to be, say vocational or personal or other settings. I know the thing that's one of the benefits, even just these casual relationships. I walk around, and when I'm in a store, I think I come across as basically a 47-year-old white guy who has trouble seeing up close. People tend to say, when I lean over to look at something, say, you left your glasses at home, and I just laugh and say, well, yeah. So now 20 years ago, they would have thought, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? But when you're 47 and you have gray and getting some white in your hair and your beard, you don't have those issues. Okay, so just something to think about. I'm about approaching the road, and I think I'm going to quit for the day. I'd like to hear your comments and your suggestions, your ideas. As always, these are my opinions and thoughts and may not necessarily be true or those of other people. But I have them and I just want to put them out there. Well, I'm about to get on the road, and so I will let you go for now. And as always, that's this blind man walking too, and you keep walking, and I will too. Bye bye.